Donk Nation, Jackson, Janet's, greetings and welcome to your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's that time. It's football times. We have a game under the what final we'll call it. We have another game currently going on. We have Laskers, we have Gingy. We got a game that matters for the Steelers to talk about. But guys, if you watch that Thursday night show, oh my God, is this season going to be another ref show just like last year where the refs seem to be the ones who determine the outcome of football games? And I'm not talking the end because clearly his toe was out of bounds. I'm talking, how does Jawan Taylor line up clearly in the backfield and never get called for a legal procedure while Stanley gets called for 3 of them as a Baltimore Raven? It just really seems like the referees again have selective flag theory or syndrome, and man, it made it not fun to watch. But anyway, exciting football time. Gingy, Laskers, how's it going?
Dang, Donkey, you're in mid-season form with that opening. Here we go, Steelers. Football's
Justin
back.
Fields.
Boom, boom. Justin Fields. Boom, boom. The calf, the ugly calf, already allegedly rearing its head. But Dingy in the house.
Beautiful thing I've seen.
Hey, well, beautiful. We'll see.
Hey,
we'll see on
we're either
Sunday
going to be
how
disastrously
beautiful
good
it is.
or disastrously bad.
Disastrously something, right? We'll have to check it out and see.
I'm going with
dastardly good
bad
or something. Yeah, judging off the preseason Laskers, you're right. But if we learned anything last year, Gingy, don't judge off the preseason, right?
That's right. That's what I'm banking on. That is what I'm banking on.
A lot of fun stuff to get into in this first Steelers game, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't point out the fact that I got the votes from all of us, and all 3 of us horribly picked wrong the Baltimore game because Lively's toe was out of bounds. Starting with an O from the Donk Nation staff. Not a good look, guys. Not a good look at all.
Hey, it's only rates. Let's check after Sunday. We'll see after Sunday what it looks like, eh?
Blame the refs.
You might as well start getting used to it, right? Looks like we're going to be blaming them all season. They got front and center stage already.
Dude, I watched
some of those calls were sus.
Bad. Like the
Typical.
fact that 2 of the illegal formations were actually legal formations. That's unacceptable. I don't get it. And how about on Kansas City's opening drive touchdown? Jawan Taylor false started on 5 of the 8 plays. And he got called once, but 4 other times he false started and didn't get called. Is that what we're in for this year? The refs just kind of pick which way they're feeling and that team gets a little boost?
Let's hope not, Donkey. I'm locked in for that, though. And, we saw a lot of that. Don't we see a lot of that through week 1, kind of week 2, hopefully week 3? It irons itself out. I don't know.
Normally, you see them emphasize something. They'll emphasize it on both teams, not just one, which is really funny because Jawan Taylor, I'm pretty sure, lined up as an illegal formation of the night and never got called. But neither here nor there. Maybe more important, let's get to the Steelers talk. 2 big extensions signed this week, and I'm not sure I like either of them. Cam Hayward getting enough money for the next 3 years where he'll qualify as a top 20 play defensive end for 3 more seasons. Not a huge fan of that. I know a lot of the money's not guaranteed, so we could cut him with only like $10 million dead each year or something like that. So not overly detrimental. But man, I don't know if I can get behind Pat Freiermuth becoming the 7th highest paid tight end in football. 4 years, $48 million. Oh, that's steep for me, dude. That's Dallas Goedert money, and he is not shown to be Dallas Goedert, Mark Andrews level, but that's where he's getting paid.
I definitely can't get behind that, but also at the same time, Cam Hayward got promised a lot of money too.
Yeah, but when you look at it, it's pretty much all guaranteed up front in a signing bonus. And then, so it's whatever year they decide to cut him, they'll take a $10 million hit. They'll save the rest of the value because the last 2 years are essentially no guaranteed money. So there's an out in that contract.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Donkey. We've been talking about him. Listen,
I hate both the signings, by the way.
fan. Big Hayward fan, right?
Yeah, good player.
But when we're talking about that type of money, we need to talk about production and value. Of course, we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's able to have it, right? That would be great on the D-line there. Let's stay healthy. Let's stay productive. Doesn't have to blow the top off.
No.
That type of money, I mean, it's money, but at the same time, I think he can produce to that value for another 3 seasons. We'll have to see about that.
This is the biggest problem I have with that is, Gingy, defensive linemen are a lot different than offensive linemen, and really offensive linemen tend not to live into their mid-30s, right? This is a dude already in his mid to late 30s. Already's been shown he's been getting more and more injury prone, has to get all these veteran off days, and let's be honest, hasn't been the same force recently. I don't understand guaranteeing him money that if you would have just waited, you could have franchise tagged him for almost the exact same dollar amount and had no future risk, right? They could have avoided the risk here. But because they declined Najee Harris's contract, I think that's why they're trying to sign these guys, because you can't go into it with 3 guys you need to franchise tag. I think declining the option of Najee Harris is what forced these moves, and I think that was a terrible decision by Omar Khan, because why not guarantee him $7 million on that 5th-year option and let it ride?
It was cheaper.
Potentially, if he has a breakout year, he's going to cost us 10 plus. It's not going to be. Oh, or are you saying the option would have been cheaper?
The option would have been cheaper.
I hear you on that. I agree on that. But you know what? This is the way the Steelers are run now. We pay players into their twilight years. We play average players who are homegrown more than average player money. And we let superstars walk. I'm not calling Najee a superstar for anyone who think I'm saying 2 things here. But it just... I don't get it. I don't like where this team currently sits roster-wise. I don't like these moves in a vacuum. I mean, one of them... in the totality, can you overpay one of these 2 guys? Probably. But these are 2 dudes who have proven to be injury prone with decreasing production. I don't like it, And if Freiermuth hasn't come out and has a great year, even if you have to franchise tag him, you'll pay him about the same money you just guaranteed him for 4 years. I don't like the premise, Gingy.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what role on his side of the ball. Primarily, we're talking about defense, right? But offense is a different story. We're going to have to see really what type of offense we're being utilized, and we have really no idea who the centerpieces, right, are going to be. So again, we're talking about production, value. Mm-hmm. Maybe Freiermuth is a part of this. Maybe, I don't know if he's ever going to clutch up. We'll have to see about that skill gap, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. He's on that cusp, really, for me. For me, and I know you might have a differing opinion, Donkey, but for me, he's serviceable. And I don't know if that was equal. It's more like C plus range for that guy, right? At least to this point in his career.
He's an NFL starting tight end, yes.
Yes.
For sure.
So I don't know if that contract kind of equates to
this is where I'll put it for you, Gingy. If we franchise tagged him, the average annual value of a franchise tag for a tight end would be less than the average annual value for his 4-year contract. So even if we went out and had to franchise tag him next year, we would essentially save $3 million by having to put the franchise tag on him.
So who's got our tag currently?
No, right now, the only player who looks like he'll need to be tagged is potentially Najee, right? Because the other 2 pending free agents already got signed. There's no other big timers coming up because our draft classes sucked the last 4 years, we could say. So there's no big time players coming up. So that's who it is. The only potential one is Najee Harris at this point. We'll see what happens with that. Freiermuth to me would have been the guy that you would have wanted to wait and franchise tag because you want to. And this is what I hate about the Steelers. The Steelers are either paying for past production or paying for potential rather than paying for current play. And I think that's what's put us behind the 8 ball a lot in terms of roster construction and all of that. But, it is what it is. We have a real football game to worry about for once, but we don't have anything to backtrack on. So I thought talking the few Steelers stories here would be kind of fun. And I don't know if you guys watched the Thursday night game, but man, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes look like they're going to be a problem this year. Those two dudes balled out.
I watched till about halftime, and yeah, they're going to be a problem.
Did you see any of it?
Yeah. I didn't see any of it, but they've been a problem. That's not even a big shocker to me, right?
But Mahomes had like his worst year statistically last year. You know, maybe we could hope he could keep slipping, but man,
statistic, right? Clutch is clutch, and those plays are. We've talked about that, but Donkey. Those plays, timing matters. You know, you can turn it on, turn it off, right? And he turns it on at the right time, clutches out games. You know, and Roethlisberger used to do the very same thing for us. He might not have been the best quarterback even through 3 quarters, but he was the best quarterback when it mattered. And guys who have that type of sauce, man, they're winners.
I know exactly what you mean as fourth quarter comebacks, but I gave myself a chuckle because I'm like, he was definitely not the best quarterback in the last decade when it mattered because those playoff numbers are
yeah.
That's
05 to 012, Ben. Even through 016, 05 to 11 years. Solid run.
Yeah, he had a great career, and I think the most scary and maybe most telling thing for me was Mahomes was in an interview, and he goes, "Man, I'm not really worried if people are bringing in new things I haven't seen before on film. I'm not worried about week 1. I'm at this point in my career now where I've seen everything, so I know how to react to everything." I mean, hearing a guy with the skill level of Mahomes have the confidence level of that, and then show it on the field, which he's done how many times? You're just sitting here and you're going,
a lot.
As the Pittsburgh Steelers, what is our best course of action while this dude is still that guy? You know, because oy vey is all I could say, man. Patty Mahomes is a joy to watch, and that dude, give him like 6 more years, and you might have a new GOAT in football. The little TB12 might have to move over.
Oh boy, yeah.
Actually,
fun to watch.
Any football things, any little fun things we want to talk about going into the season prior to talking this Atlanta Falcons game for you two?
Nothing for
kickoffs.
me.
Kickoffs are still weird. Getting used to it.
I agree. Like Kickoffs are weird. I don't understand them yet, and I
like it. I have an open mind. You know, it's only first week or whatever, but it feels kind of like when you get out of a swimming pool or whatever, it kind of feels like you need a shower. It's just a little sterile yet. I don't know. It kind of looks like a drill.
I still don't understand it.
So essentially, it's a line of scrimmage play, right? Everybody lines up on a line of scrimmage. It's just the 40-yard line, I believe, is what it is for the NFL. And then the kickers have to kick it inside the square little box, right? If they kick it into the end zone, it's a touchback that goes to the 30, unless it bounced inside the box first, which is legal. And then it's just a normal play, right? It's just like running essentially a lateral play or anything like that where there's no forward pass allowed because the ball passed the line of scrimmage. It's just one-on-one, man-on-man football. But to me, it's entertaining because at least there is a kickoff again, right? We grew up with kickoffs being a big thing. Hell, a Hall of Famer, Devin Hester, just got in because of his ability on kickoffs. And then there was, 10, 15 years where kickoffs just didn't exist? At least it's a kickoff again. At least it matters.
Well, I agree with you, but it's so confusing on all the dang rules. I mean, there's so many rules on kickoffs now because I read all of them and I'm like, okay, I feel bad for the kicker.
Oh, but the job for the kicker's really easy. Land it in the box.
It's funny though because it changes all your strategy, right? Height doesn't matter anymore. Nobody moves until that receiver touches the ball.
Yep.
The one thing I 100% dislike on the new kickoff rules is Why can you only kick an onside kick in the fourth quarter? That made it fun when you could kick it any time you wanted.
You're right. Surprise on kicks are a thing that definitely got lost in this, all that. But those happen 4 times a year, and I understand what you're saying.
You're right.
Personally, I think they should go to also the UFL rules on onside kicks, which is you just try to start as a 4th and 15, 4th and 15, and if you don't get it, the other team gets the ball there. I think they should just do away with that altogether because I agree with you. Onside kicks are that, but I mean the success rate in onside kicks was so low. It was me and Gingy had this conversation at the end of last year. The onside kick rate was so low, it's not even worth really doing it anymore because the success rate is so terrible because they changed the fact that you can't overstack either side of the line. But
You're right.
Was there a successful, and this is just out of curiosity, was there a successful surprise onside kick in any of the last 4 or 5 years?
Probably not. And
that's just my curiosity.
I think it's just because of formation, but no, I don't think they're.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, getting rid of something that is that, and yes, if that's a thing you liked, I can understand why you don't like it. To make the kickoff where kick returns now happen almost all the time rather than like 30% of the time to me is a win any way I'm going to look at it. That's just my perspective. But last year's, I really like the bring up of the loss of the surprise onside kick because that's honestly something I would have never even considered.
Yeah, and I don't know how successful they were, but it's a cool thing to see.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess this is a good time. Let's go into the Atlanta game. If anyone's curious, our staff here all picked preseason the Steelers to win this game. We'll see if that still holds true as of today. But the Steelers versus Atlanta, 15-2-1 all time against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, both losses did happen on the road. We're playing at Atlanta, 8-2 all time in Atlanta. The biggest win was the Steelers by 28 points in 1993 in Atlanta in a 45-17 game. Atlanta's biggest win was in 1970, also in Atlanta. Clearly, they only won there. 27-16. The longest win streak was the Steelers at 9 from 74 to 99. Atlanta, both times they won, had a 1-game win streak, you could call it. Currently, the Steelers are on a 4-game win streak with the last meeting 2022. 1916 Steelers win in Atlanta. And man, 1916, that just sounds like a Steelers score, doesn't it?
Classic.
Definitely.
Classic Steelers punt fest field goal.
Now, both these teams have a lot of new things going on. Both got new quarterbacks, a younger one, an older one. Both teams have new coaches in some positions. The Steelers brought in the former Atlanta Falcons coach, Arthur Smith, to run the offense. The Falcons bring in Raheem Morris to be the new head coach down there in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins, the big money guy who's money in the regular season, doesn't seem to win a lot of playoff games. The new quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Lots of weapons there for them to use. Some familiar faces we've seen. But there should be a little bit of familiarity here between these two teams. I mean, Arthur Smith should know the personnel inside and out, bring that knowledge to the Steelers. Some former Steelers, or current Steelers, definitely former Falcons that came over with the new coach. What are you guys really looking at here? Do you think this is season, or game 1 of the season, it's after a bye week after preseason where no one played, it's going to be sloppy, it's going to be ugly, and really it's just going to come down to a field position game? Or do you think there's an advantage for one of these two teams going in?
I don't know, Donkey. I don't see any clear advantage on either side of the ball. I think it's going to be, and we're talking about Justin Fields out there. Mm-hmm. This is less predictable than any other scenario that I can come up with, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I have a pretty good idea of what Russell Wilson going to do if he trot out there.
Yeah, Justin Fields last year, that being said, really is a question mark. In the preseason, all we really saw was bad Justin Fields. But if you watched in Chicago last year, he's the guy that could give Chicago a 30-point lead, or score 30 points in the first 3 quarters, give Chicago like a 3-score lead, and then turn the ball over so much in the fourth that they'd end up losing by 14, 45-30 or something, right? Do we get to see Justin Fields now realize he lost the job, But potentially, and maybe we're wrong and Wilson plays right, but maybe Fields, at least we're getting reported that Fields is going to start. Is this a potential for Fields to say, hey, I lost the job, all of a sudden get a chance and know now he has to ball out and show up? Is that what we're going to see here?
I don't think that's what we're going to see. I honestly don't think that's what we're going to see. I think that we're going to see the Justin Fields of old. I just don't think he has the mentality that we need to see for him to ball out.
That's fair to say. When we look at Atlanta offensively here, Gingy, Kirk Cousins is a known quantity who's been getting it done at a pretty high level the last few years. They have a two-headed backfield monster in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Allgeier. Wide receiver is probably their weakest spot, but Drake London is a legit threat. You push him with, like, I don't know, a rookie like Casey Washington, a couple vets who are mediocre guys, kind of like the Steelers' number 2 receivers, and Darnell Mooney and Kadero Hodge, and a good kick return guy. The Steelers should know that Ray McLeod's new team is down there in Atlanta. But maybe most importantly, and the matchup nightmare for Steelers has always been tight ends. Kyle Pitts is a baller, Gingy. That offense has some weapons. Should we be worried what Atlanta can do in a system you have to assume is going to be pass heavy with Kirk Cousins?
I would assume so with Kirk Cousins, yes. Definitely watch out for that tight end position. Absolutely, Donkey. Classic weakness on our part. I don't think there's any reason for that to change this year at this point. So, yeah, definitely. I want to see the Steelers establish up front. Okay, let's see the big men up front. Let's see the big contract. We're celebrating Cam Hayward, right? Let's see him get that push up front.
That would be nice to see. Now, last year, as we go to the defensive side, Steelers get good news, right? I mean, Jaylen Warren's supposed to play. Maybe bad news, Russell Wilson isn't going to play. Isaac Seumalo is going to be out, so you're going to have someone stepping in there. Troy Fontanu may or may not play. I haven't really heard much about what's going on there. And if he does, then Broderick Jones is the backup tackle, I'm guessing, because I assume Dan Moore Jr. is still starting at left tackle. All sorts of weird stuff going on the Steelers' offensive line. Roman Wilson's not going to play this week, so that's kind of a knock for the Steelers. The musical chairs moving part for the Steelers offense, mixed with an Atlanta front seven that has guys like Eddie Goldman, Grady Jarrett, a horror. I can't say his name ever, but he's a good interior guy. You mix that with guys on the outside like Matthew Judon, right? Is this going to be the type of game where the Steelers are going to struggle to create that identity that they want? Because Atlanta tends to be a little bit strong in the middle, have some decent pass rushers, and really the question mark for the Steelers right now, outside of quarterback and wide receiver number 2, is can this offensive line gel with all these injuries and all these moving parts, Laskers?
Oh, I think this is going to be a game that the Steelers struggle. I personally don't think the Steelers are going to win this game.
Ooh, we might have our first switch from our preseason prediction coming in here. And then when you look at it, don't forget, Atlanta signed arguably the best safety in the league last year, Justin Simmons, to come in. That secondary looks a lot stronger out there with 2 really good safeties and Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons there. Jesse Bates, really, Cincinnati's defense hasn't been the same since they lost him. Justin Simmons, you know what he can do. A.J. Terrell Jr. is a first-round pick, if I'm not mistaken, formerly guy from Clemson. There's a lot of talent in that secondary outside of the fact that really they don't have a number 2 cornerback, and I think they only carry 3 on their roster right now, if I'm not mistaken. And guys like, Phillips, Hughes, and A.J. Terrell are the only ones, so I'm assuming they're going to bring someone up from the practice squad. Digi, can we expose the fact that maybe while there are elite players in that Atlanta system, they don't really have depth? But then the problem is the Steelers don't have depth. But can the Steelers' depth outdo Atlanta's depth, I guess, is what I'm asking. And we see someone other than George Pickens step up in this game.
Boy, we're talking about the 2 guys that got the contracts, right? Those sound like 2 excellent guys. If they stepped up in this game, I think the Steelers have a big chance at a W. We're talking about Cam Hayward. We already said that. And Pat Freiermuth on the other side. If we've got ourselves a reckless Justin Fields, What's typically the best safety blanket for a quarterback who's getting a little spicy?
Was it Cole Kmet who was the Bears tight end and got all the yards? Ask him. He got a lot of yards from Justin Fields.
Yeah, and I think Pat Freiermuth has an opportunity too as well if they've got a good connection with each other. I'd definitely watch out for that.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I certainly think that's a spot they could go. Now, we have to talk special teams, and arguably might be the most important thing is the Steelers have a punter who can punt the football now, Laskers, to go with a kicker like Boswell, who, if he's good Boswell, is lights out, right? But then you go to the other side, man. There's a pretty good combo over there in Atlanta, too. I mean, Bradley Pinion is a guy who's had some great years, coming off a year where he averaged 47 yards a punt. Young-Ho Koo is an absolute stellar kicker now. He's made over 86% of his kicks every year since he became Atlanta's kicker. 86% last year, 90% 2 years prior, 94% the year before. So this is a good question. Is there an edge on special teams from either of these two teams going in to this season? Is it going to be the old veteran having a game against his old team and Cordero Patterson? Or is it going to be another veteran, Ray McLeod, having a team against game against his old team, the Steelers, that can make the difference? Because it really feels like the kicking units are very similar.
I'm going to give the edge to Ray McLeod. He just
Patterson.
was a. He just was the.
Gingy thinks you mispronounced Cordero Patterson there.
I was just making a.
I know exactly what Gingy thought.
Yeah.
But I just think Ray is gonna have a little bit better, not much better, a little bit better. Yeah.
That could be the thing that breaks it down. We'll let you guys have a moment to break down your keys on offense and defense, but last year, one of the segments that I was told was preferred was the cash or trash, so it's coming back. It's in year 2. I'm a little more ready for it. We're going to do 5 offense, 5 defense. Number 1, we're going to Gingy. Cash or trash, Justin Fields and or Russell Wilson will have more passing yards than Kirk Cousins.
Trash.
Fair enough. Laskers, we're going to keep on this comparing units things. Kyle Pitts and Drake London will have more yards than George Pickens and Pat Freiermuth.
I'm going to cash that one in.
Everything's going Atlanta's way right now. Number 3 is for Gingy. I know Gingy loves the running backs. So the combination of Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris will have more rushing yards than the combination of Bijan Robinson and Tyler Allgeier. Cash or trash?
Cash. If the Steelers have any opportunity at winning, that's got to be true. Cash it in.
Fair enough. Let's go number 4 to Laskers here. The revamped Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line will allow 2.5 or less, because I want 2 to be the lower. So we'll allow 3 less than 3 sacks. Cash or trash?
Less than 2.5?
Yeah, so
trash.
So less than 3. All right, that's absolutely fair. And that means we have to go back to Gingy for one last one, right, Gingy? Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
The Pittsburgh Steelers will have more than 4 plays of 30-plus yards on offense. Cash or trash? Is the splash coming?
Oh, 4 of 30. Man, I don't think they had 4 of 30 till, week 12 or 13 last year?
The whole season.
Man, I'd love to tell you that we're going to the bank with that one, Donkey, but I'm afraid we're going to have to say trash.
All right, that's fair. Closing segment here for the Steelers on offense. Laskers, what do you think we're looking at?
For this game?
Yes, Steelers on offense against the Falcons.
If we score 17 points, I'm going to be surprised.
Gingy!
Whoa.
You can follow that one up. Let's go.
Whoa, offense. It's not going to necessarily be an explosion. We're going to be looking at more like 2021, but, I need to see an established running game, and I'd really like to see... Man, I'm okay. It doesn't have to be classic pistol, I formation, run the ball, blah, blah, blah. But I would like to see some rhythm. And I'd really like to see an offense establish some sort of identity. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to run the football? Is it going to be a screen game? Is it going to be a, dink and dunk? Or is it, are we going to throw the ball over the middle? Those are the things that I'm looking to establish at the beginning of the season. On the road, we're going to see how well Mike Tomlin has his guys prepared, right?
Fair.
Opening on the road, that can get ugly if you're not ready for that. So, yeah, those are going to be the things I'm looking at on offense.
It's real simple to me. Russell Wilson starts, 17 points. Justin Fields starts, new coordinator, new quarterback who's young blood, wants to get that option and sees it. You're going to see a moment seized by Justin Fields putting up 30-plus points for the Pittsburgh Steelers, having 100-plus rushing yards, 250-plus passing yards, accounting for 4 touchdowns. You are going to see the showcase of Justin Fields because the Steelers need to have a little hope. And you know what? The fan sentiment's a lot lower than it's been in a lot of recent seasons. So week 1 is going to be the week where the hype happened. Do I think it maintains the whole year? Stay tuned every week. I'll let you know. But this week, it is going to be Justin Fields showing out and Spencer Anderson getting in there and leading the running game as the pulling guard, taking the most of his opportunity. I think this game for the Steelers offense will be about people who were backups getting a chance to play, seizing the opportunity. Now it's time to cash or trash. Donkey's take there. I'll let you both say cash or trash to it, and then we'll go to the defense. I know
trash. I'll cash that. I'm hyped about that. I sure hope that's like Merry Christmas. Let's go. First game of the season. We see an offensive explosion. Gingy loves to take that.
Me and Gingy talked all off season how I'm not going to get hyped and I'm not going to put my faith in this team. And sure enough, week 1 comes around and I lied. Laskers, I'm on you to start the defensive fun, right?
All right.
TJ Watt has more sacks than Matthew Judon. Cash or trash?
I'm going to cash that one in.
Fair enough. Gingy, we're going to you. The Steelers' interior offensive line with a first-year guy in Spencer Anderson, a rookie in Zach Frazier, and a veteran in James Daniels is going to go ahead and shut down the middle of that Atlanta defense and allow not only no quarterback hits, which means no sacks, but no tackle for loss from the interior of that Atlanta defensive line. Cash or trash?
No tackle for loss. 0 from the middle into
oh wait, I was talking the wrong thing. Okay, we'll take that anyway. Okay, now let's keep going. The part 2 to that, Gingy, is the Steelers' interior offensive line, the bottom 3, including Cam Hayward, will in fact record 5 or more tackles for loss in this game. Sacks included.
All
right, let's go back to Laskers. Patrick Queen comes out as a Steeler and has 15-plus tackles and a forced fumble in his first game in black and gold. Cash or trash?
Trash.
Fair enough. Gingy, let's go to you. The Steelers secondary has more interceptions than touchdowns allowed. Cash or trash?
I'm cash. Let's do it.
Laskers, coming to you for the last one. The Steelers hold Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London all under 100 yards. Not combined, but each individual does not break 100 yards. Cash or trash?
Trash.
Laskers, you're absolutely raining on my black and gold parade over here, okay? It's week 1 hype time, Laskers, not week 1 cry time.
No, so Gingy, have you watched some of the offseason?
Atlanta went 0-3 preseason 2. Atlanta went 0-3 too. It's not like they were good. So, Gingy, because of that, you get to give me your take on the defense.
Defense, we need to see some. We're going to see some classic Watt. I think he's opened up the season, last couple seasons with a big splash. Wouldn't expect anything different. Would like to really see, one thing we consistently talked about last year is a lack of presence from Minkah Fitzpatrick. Maybe in the way we would want to see it. I'd love to see him establish himself and make one of my cash or trash statements come true with more interceptions than touchdowns allowed. Love to see that happen. So that's my take on the defense.
Fair enough. Laskers, take on the defense.
Oh, I think TJ for this game, he's gonna have 2 or more sacks, but
yeah,
he's gonna be only good thing on defense.
That's a fairly bold statement there. I think what I'm gonna say on defense here is the Steelers are what you thought they were. I think you're going to see those splash plays led by guys like TJ Watt, Joey Porter getting in the way, maybe Beanie Bishop, or maybe even this is a great game for Adonta Jackson being downhill with the way Cousins likes to do a lot of checkdowns. It's a good fit for him. I think you're going to also see splash the other way because the Steelers struggle with running backs. I think you're going to see Bijan Robinson and Allgeier running crazy, and I think you're going to see Kyle Pitts absolutely go off. I think you're going to see more of the same. Steelers bend a lot. You see mistakes from Atlanta because it's early in the season. And the defense, they're going to do just enough to win you this football game. I think that's what you're going to see. Now, you guys, again, I'm going to let you cash or trash my statement there.
Trash. Wait, you said Steelers are winning. I couldn't. Donkey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're way too cerebral for me, man. I followed maybe 45 seconds for a minute. All right, but no, I am cashing in to doing enough to win, right?
Yeah, I hear you. All right,
I'm trashing the Steelers winning this game.
Yeah, I bet you
he does
did.
not.
I knew that was coming.
Enough. All right,
yeah, just enough to lose is what Laskers is saying.
Let's get into our picks then. We all mispicked the Baltimore game. I don't know if anyone heard me say it at the beginning, but we all picked the Ravens and
I heard you.
So that means we got to step it up. We got Cincinnati, or is it New England going to Cincinnati? Who'd you like in that one? Gingy, we'll start with you.
Cincy. Well, I didn't see nothing from New England.
Laskers.
I'm actually going to join Gigi on this one. Give me Cincy.
Right. Well, no one's breaking away from the pack early in this season, as I too like Cincy. We have Dallas going to Cleveland. What are you guys thinking here? These are 2 hype teams going into the season, right? Which one comes out on top?
Gingy, you want to go first or you want me to?
I'm taking Dallas.
Dallas? Ooh, nice.
I'm going to go the Brownies, and I don't know why.
I'm with Laskers. I am with the Brownies on this one, just purely because I don't know. Myles Garrett and defensive ends, a la TJ Watt as a pass rusher, tend to be important, and I think he's going to outdo Micah Parsons. That's all I have on that one. So then we got the money game right. We got the Steelers heading down to the ATL, where we have just historically dominated this franchise. Laskers, team, score, X Factor.
Oh, shit. Give me a second. I got to look up Atlanta's players. now you know who I'm picking, but...
Rotten. Dislike.
Gingy has unsubscribed from the channel.
Yup.
For sure he has.
I'm going to play the Jeopardy music in this while we're waiting for last year, so you just can hear do.
No, don't get DM.
Kyle Pitts.
That's possible one.
Gingy, we're going to move to you. Laskers can cut in when he's prepared.
Absolutely. Just cut in when you're ready. I'm taking the Steelers 21-20, classic slugfest. Give me, well, if Justin Fields starts, it's going to be Justin Fields pulling it out, right? But if he,
if you pick him as your X factor, I'm going to kick you.
No. I think that it's going to be his main target. I think it's going to be his main target in the red zone.
Calvin Austin,
Pat Freiermuth being our X factor in this game. Let him show. Let this man cook. Let's go.
All right, Laskers, how's it going?
All right. I got mine. And actually, Gingy didn't give a score, but
21-20.
Oh, you did. I missed that.
I have it written down. Pew, pew, pew.
21-13. Ray McLeod.
Ray, that's a nice one. I like that. Lasker's always going off the cuff. He likes to pick kickers and kick returners.
Yeah, I mean, those plays matter,
very close to picking the kicker for Atlanta, but
he didn't want to have to say Jung Yo.
Terrible problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what the problem was.
Good times.
Shoot. I like the Steelers here. I like them 30-27 with Justin Fields as your X factor. Clearly, explosion time, Gingy.
Explosion 30.
It is black and gold glasses until after the first week, at least. Okay,
that's definitely a fucking explosion.
If anyone's curious, Madden 25 has also simulated the entire season for us, and they have the Steelers opening up with a 31-14 victory in Week 1. So let's hope we all pick better than Madden, because if Madden outpicks us, well,
then the bots have overcome.
Pick Madden picks every week, so I can't lose to it. Time for a shout out. Gingy, you got one this week, or should I head to Laskers?
Yeah, I'll take one. I mean, one guy on offense, one guy on defense getting paid for the Steelers. Shout out Freiermuth, Hayward. It looks like you gotta go buy a jersey so they can cover that cost. But those are some good picks. I'm glad to see him stay on the Steelers. Let's see him produce.
My terrible luck with jersey picks since Lawrence Timmons was last on the Steelers. You don't want me buying either of their jerseys, just so we're clear. Lasker, shout out.
I got nothing for a shout out.
Not ready for that yet. Got to make them earn it. Make them earn it, Laskers.
Got a shout out here. This one's more for. My wife will appreciate this one. Shout out my neighbors who scared the damn moose out of the garden so that the vegetables could survive. So kudos, appreciated, much love.
That's pretty cool.
That's all I really have. Any closing thoughts from you, gents, before we send it out?
Man, I'm excited for football. Let's go. Got a weekend of games. Got to check in and see what's going on here tonight.
Do you have Peacock? Because otherwise you don't get a watch, because heaven forbid you don't want to spend $8 for a single football game to have Peacock for a month.
It is pretty disrespectful, but
the NFL just straight up pulling it up, not putting anything on the end and ramming it up there.
I got a real-time update if you want.
Yeah, what's the score at?
It's 31 Philly, 26 Green Bay.
Woo! Defense is certainly at a premium in that game, huh? Well, I guess it's time. I gotta let you know, I'm the Viking Donkey. That's Viking_Donkey on Twitch or Twitter. Your daily dose of Donkey and Ginger is where you get this incredible Steelers talk. We'll keep you up to date with all the news. I'm gonna do a lot better job of getting the bug cap done on time, getting the power rankings out there on time, and making sure that this flagship show with the greats, Laskers and Gingy, is produced at a timely fashion. I think I've worked through my technical problems. So, Laskers, how's it going?
It's the Laskers everywhere, and if you can't find me, too bad. Gingy,
and
he didn't send it over, but Gingy, take it away.
Mutant Gingy in the house. We hanging out, talking football. Oh my gosh, it's back. Steelers fans, get hype. Wave a new era, a new non-Kenny Pickett era of football. New quarterbacks, new horizons, new season. 1-0 on the way. Wave them if you got them. Here we go, Steelers.